Good evening! Hello, my friends. In this video, I will talk to you about driving and road rage and what I'm going to do to change my life. I wrote this down. It says, all of us should stop driving so the government makes better transportation services in Florida. No more road rage. No more traffic jams. Just people walking around and a beautiful bus and train system, or what do you call those? Trolley cars. Just like Jacque Fresco mentioned in the Venus Project. When I was about 23, 24 years old, telling by the car I was driving, I was about 24, 25. And I was about to turn left, but the light turned red, so I stopped, or yellow, whichever. And I stopped, and the guy behind me beeped at me. So I got out of the car, I put it in park. I probably turned it off because I'm very good at turning it off. But either way, I got out of the car and I went like this with my hands and gestures. Or, what do you want? And I walked 3 steps to the back of my car. But the guy went like this, and well, he wasn't wearing a hat. He went like this, and that was the end of it. So I got back in my car, and that was that. Because I'm just tired of being bullied. I've had, on another occasion, I had a pickup truck on my tail, and I went up and down into Bell Harbor, Florida. That's by Miami. It's in Miami. And on the other side was a police officer, and of course the pickup truck, he probably used his brakes because I didn't see him. And the police officer just drove alongside me and looked at me, so I slowed down and slowed down and slowed down. But it was 6 o'clock in the morning, so I guess he didn't want to do a ticket at that time. And I thought, sure, give me the ticket, when that guy behind me is the one that's tailgating me. But what you got to do is you got to actually slow down, not speed up, because the guy that wants to go faster, he will just ride your tail even if you go 10 miles per hour faster. On another occasion, this is when I first moved up here in Florida, out of Miami, that is. I was driving, and there were 2 lakes on my left and my right. And I wasn't familiar with the area, so I was going slowly. But I was doing at least 30. And the speed limit must have been maybe 35. I'll have to look. I haven't been by there in a long time. And the guy was on my tail. Finally, it was a single lane also. So he was on my tail. And finally, he just passed me. When there were no more cars coming towards us, he passed me, and then the light caught him. So he got out of the car, started kicking his tire. He had a red pickup, another pickup, huh? First one was a black pickup. This one's a red pickup. He's kicking his tire, he's screaming, he's hitting the back of his pickup truck. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I've got the spouse in the back with my daughter. I got my 60-something-year-old aunt on the front seat. I've got my gun in the trunk. Oh boy, how do I get out of this one? But what I did is, since he got to the red light because he was speeding, and then he stopped at the red light, I stopped at quite a distance from him, probably about 5 cars but there was no there were no cars between us. It was just him and myself. So then the guy behind me beeps at me because he says, "Why are you stopping here?" But I don't know if I took my hand out of the window and I said, "Watch out," or I don't remember saying anything. I just didn't know what to say. I said, "Look." And so that's why I didn't want to get closer. And that's when I said, this gun law about 3 moves is quite stupid. I mean, by the time I get out of the car, that guy will be on top of me. If he really wants to. Then, of course, I was driving at the elementary school, and I've been there, 3 years? It says 10 miles per hour. And it's one of those S's and curves and S's on the park before you get to the parking lot or the drop-off section. And so what happened was someone beeped at me. And I forced myself. I even moved the mirror probably so that I wouldn't know who it was. It was the person behind me. But I didn't want to know who it was because, I mean, we see each other every day. And why are you beeping me? You see the sign says 10 miles per hour. And that was at school. But then again, there is a possibility that it was somebody saying hello, but I doubt it because we were arriving at the school to pick them up after school. So that was... Usually if we're going to say hello, we wave at each other, but you don't beep. Alright, what other situations have I been in? I've been at the Amtrak railroad station, and nothing happened there except that it was deserted. My goodness, if you want to do a crime, just do it there, bury the person, and nobody will see anything. It was completely dark. I got lost getting there because I followed the GPS. Then I figured I'm very intuitive, so I did a prayer to myself while I'm driving. And I said, I know that road says the same name as this GPS, but I'm not going to take it. And by not taking it, I actually found the railroad tracks. Now, I've been there before, but that doesn't help out much. Being there before is just getting lost twice. So yeah, wherever the train station is, I refused to take the kids after that one time. I mean, it's completely deserted, and nah, it's not like a Chicago train station where you see 1,000 people, or I imagine New York. Let's see, but road rage happens when another driver does something to you. And so other people say, oh, go with God, bless you, and all that stuff. And that's nice. However, I've noticed that, number one, I always drive on the slow lane. And when I used to drive, I haven't really driven very much. I drove from here to the 5-minute park, 5 minutes. And that's only because my mother wanted to go. That's the only reason I took the spouse's car. I am on the insurance. I do have a driver's license. It's just I don't like using the spouse's car because one time I was going to church, and what happened was she said, "Get out of the car. You don't put gas in it," or something like that. So I get out of the car. I gave her the car keys with my hand like this, and she snatched and she actually ripped skin with her nail. So I was like, whoa! It was 1/4 inch of skin that she yanked off me, and I had the blood right there, and it wasn't even dripping or anything. It was just raw. And I said, I felt like giving a quick jab to the mouth or something, but of course I was in so shock that I don't know if I told her, but I was thinking, not even the animals behave this way, because my friend Richard and Tai Chi Chuan, years ago had given food to a raccoon, and the raccoon went and grabbed it with 2 hands, and he was so gentle. That particular raccoon, all right. I don't feed raccoons. I don't go near them. I don't go near not even a bird, or no, and I don't go near any animals except my dog and or her friends at the park. So back to road rage. This spouse says that I drive too slow, that I drive too far to the left or to the right. Probably to the left, because I avoid, in case someone opens their door or a child runs out in between cars, I always drive towards the left. But that's fine. I'm still in my own lane. I'm not going bump 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 on the white line or anything. Yeah, so I don't drive with the spouse anywhere. She has invited me to go pick up her dad at the Greyhound, but I'm not going because I don't like going anywhere with this spouse. It's too dangerous. Most of the time she wants me to drive. When it's something like this, something going someplace we don't, not to Walmart, but when going somewhere like unusual, like Greyhound bus station. So I don't drive. I don't go with her. This way I avoid problems. This way I avoid restaurants, because the problem with the restaurants is, how do I know that the employees wash their hands, or how do I know that the food is cooked the right way? I have problems trusting people most of the time, and if I'm in a restaurant, I just see myself as a sitting duck. Someone could come in and blow up everybody, you know. So I don't go to restaurants, and of course, every time we go far away, we gotta go to a restaurant. Like one time, I went to Orlando, and there was a McDonald's, and I even sat away from the family because I don't want any arguing. All right. You took my French fry. I don't want to hear any of that. I don't do well. And so then there was a guy standing very close to this spouse, and I knew he was going to ask her for money, but I just don't like him standing that close to her, you know. And she was sitting down at biting the burger with the kids and so on, and I'm sitting by myself, of course, because my mother was there. But I just don't like being in those situations. Have you all seen the video where the old man was about to order a burger and someone came in, a thief, and punched him and took his $3, but he knocked the man, you know, the 60-year-old, whatever, old man on the floor. So I don't like going to restaurants. I love drive-through. But again, it's only for emergency reasons, and if you live your life right, the way I do, just if I had a night, like later on when I have an RV, a recreational vehicle, you got your stove, you got your toilet, then we can travel wherever you want. I'll go in there let's say in the future, I'll go in there with maximum one child. And usually it's my son, because I don't need any difficult times. In the past, my daughter has been disrespectful, so like I just don't kicking my chair when I was driving, or both of them starting fights with each other. So no kids. Even when I took the CDL license to drive, the chauffeur's license, the one for the big trucks, I never went for the passenger endorsement, because I just don't want to be a bus driver. I don't want to deal with passengers that don't behave. So that's my personality. And then I don't like driving where I don't really know how to get to that place unless I get the whole RV with food and a bathroom, and then it's all right. All right. So road rage. The cure for road rage, what I'm going to do for my life is I'm going to give up my driver's license this year. And by the way, it's very difficult to renew your driver's license. You got to take your passport. So that means I got to go renew the passports. All of this I found out because the spouse took the mother. My mother has an out-of-state driver's license, so it's a pain. It's a pain. Yeah. I was joking around because I usually joke around that it might be easier to drive to Mexico and get a Mexican driver's license that would be able to let us drive in the United States instead of going through all the hassle of dealing with the driver's license. You gotta be there before 11 a.m. or they won't take care of you at the driver's license office. Oh well. I spoke with a religious man, a Mormon, and he mentioned that without a car in Florida and without a driver's license, life is very difficult. And I agree with him. However, I intend to gain something by giving up driving. One time I was working as a temporary at an accounting company, and the office manager said, look at what these people make on welfare. They're making, when they work, $200 a week, and when they don't work they get a check for $150 a week. Well, that's just $50 to go to work for 40 hours. And if you stay home, you don't that doesn't happen. You get your money. However, some people complain about welfare people and so on. I see it as a thank you by the government, that I'm allowed to live and I'm allowed to feed my children indirectly because everything goes to the spouse because she's the woman. She gets the food stamps in her name. One time I went to apply for food stamps, and the gentleman there, it was a man this time, he said, "Where's the spouse?" And I told him, well, she doesn't want to come and ask for food stamps because she says she didn't come to this country to ask for food stamps. So then he said, well, if she's not gonna come, then eventually she went, because of course I see it as a great help, the food stamps. However, this spouse in the past has not let me purchase, like I already mentioned in other videos, the one time the can of cashews or the bottle of cashews, plastic bottle, when my mom was going on an airplane trip, I said, let me buy this for my mom, please buy it for me. And she gets $400 and $500, and she said no until this old man and old woman asked her to please buy it for me because I had chased her all the way through the vegetables section. Alright, so road rage. Now I will be riding my bicycle wherever I go. But then again, I don't really go anywhere except to walk my dog, play for a while. So that's what I do with my time. And I make videos and I talk about private things so that everybody can learn from my videos. You see, in the United States, nobody talks to anybody, and few people read the Dear Abby or Dear Ann Landers, the advice columns, which I started to read when I was a security guard, but then they told me not to read the newspaper anymore at work. All right. Keep reading books. LibriVox is a great website. The Power of Concentration. That book is awesome because what's happening is it says if you cannot concentrate, you cannot be successful. You need to be able to concentrate on what you're doing, and it gives you tips on what to do and things. Actually, each chapter is a lesson, or a lesson plus a homework assignment, an exercise. One of them is to talk less and listen more when you're around other people. Don't give them a monologue. Another tip the author mentioned was if you don't have anyone to talk to, then you are suffering from mental starvation or lack of stimulation, mental starvation or something, which is the beginning of being mentally ill. Can you imagine? All you need is someone to talk to. To say, look at that flower, isn't that pretty? Or look at that bat. Like we've been seeing bats for the last week. Look at that bat. If you have someone to talk to, that makes life easier. When you're always alone, how did I get all alone? What happened was I had friends, but as soon as they got girlfriends, they went their own ways, and we had different work schedules, and I'm just not able to call people on the phone. I'll call them like, you want to go to the park? Yes, but you know, when you call them 3 times and they don't want to go to the park, well then, you want to go play soccer? No, okay, well forget it then. You know, so like most of the time I don't have any friends because they're not athletic like I am. They might be 10 times stronger, 10 times faster in running and more athletic, but they go to the gym and they sit on a bicycle or something. I don't know what they do, but well, I know they do weights, but the Tai Chi people were awesome because they were all gentle to me, even the strongest man there. He worked at a bar and he had big muscles. He showed me the chokehold and he said, get out of it. And I told him I can't get out of it. And he says, all right, never let a big guy grab you. Or a little guy, whoever grabs you. Don't let anybody grab you. That's when I was fast. Now I am slow like a mountain. I'm strong like a mountain. And you can yield just by standing still. Alright, so no more road rage. Go find somebody to talk to. Give up your driving. Give up your car payment. How about that? Don't give up driving. The mindset, you know. Oh no, I'm not able to drive anywhere. No. You are giving up your car payment and you're riding your bicycle wherever you go. We might have to get out of the country though, because there are other countries. The ex-spouse, the ex-wife, she went to Europe somewhere and there were a bunch of bicycles. She said, Daniel, you would really love it here. Because it was a place where you could ride a bicycle, and if you don't have a bicycle, you just rent one and you ride it all the way to where you're going. You leave it there and then you rent another one. It was nice, according to what she told me. So many bicycles. I'll have to ask her where it is. Alright, enjoy your life. Be better than I am. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.